Stop bull.
It's Friday Night Live with Vince, pregame, postgame show. Your destination for top high school football previews and wrap-ups with Vince and his team. Buckle up and hang on for Friday Night Live.
And welcome to another edition of Friday Night Live, presented by the Varsity Sports Show. Vince DeLisio, Jasmine Dickmans, and Marla Mundo joining us tonight. Guys, wow, what a night for high school football. You know, we went around pre-show here and heard from some of our field correspondents just to get some updates and some surprises, some pleasant surprises. And we're going to, well, before we kick it off and send it to Anissa, Jasmine, any surprises for you tonight?
Yes, I don't want to spoil you anything yet because we have to keep listening. But yes, I was very, very surprised with some scores tonight.
Yeah. And Marla, you being at UNLV, haven't had a chance to follow a lot of Arizona high school football, but based off of what you learned in the pregame show from our field correspondents and some of your own independent research, were there any games that you were really looking forward to tonight?
Yeah, during the pregame show, the Gila Ridge Micah Mountain game, I think Ethan Troll sold me on. So I think the ending of the game kind of surprised me a little bit, but I'm excited to hear more about it.
All right, let's first send it out. We are going to go to ALA Gilbert North, hosting Canyon View in the 5A semifinal, in one of the 5A semifinals, with our very own Anissa Reynolds, who was on the call tonight. Let's bring Anissa on. She'll be joined by Marla. All right, Anissa, sorry about that earlier. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys now.
Anissa, how are you doing tonight?
Hi, Marla. Of course, I can't hear you now. That's so weird. But great game over here at ALA Gilbert thus far. It was a close matchup all game. I mean, going into halftime, ALA was up. I believe it was 17-14 going into halftime. So coming out of halftime, Canyon View really stepped up and their defense locked in, and they put a stop to ALA Gilbert a few times, and the end score ended up being 34-24 for the Canyon View Jaguars. Impressive game.
So what was the turning point in this game? I know it's really close at halftime, but what would you say was the turning point?
Sorry, I cannot hear you. But one of the player of the game tonight was Braylon Anderson. Did great tonight overall. Was a key player in their success. Had a lot of receptions to move them downfield. Had a 40-yard touchdown earlier in the game to gain their first lead over ALA Gilbert. So he showed out and did great. Of course, the running backs did amazing too. And that was one of the best parts of the game. And the turning point of the game, that's a tough one because, sorry, Marla, but that's a tough one just because the game was so back and forth. But I'd have to say it was the final couple minutes of the game where ALA Gilbert had the ball and they were trying to score a touchdown to get in reach of Canyon View, but they couldn't quite. And Canyon View had a fumble recovery, I believe it was, to end up finishing off the game and winning the game 34-24.
So, Anissa, what was the best offensive play of the game?
I still can't quite hear you, but the best offensive play of the game, like I said, Braylon Anderson of Canyon View had a 40-yard reception touchdown that was amazing. It was the highlight of the game, and it really set the tone in the third quarter, really flipped the switch for Canyon View Jaguars to win the game.
Well, thanks, Anissa. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Good night, Marla.
Good night. We'll see what Jasmine has next with Rodolfo. We'll hit it off, Jasmine.
Thank you, Marla. And yes, there he is, Rodolfo. Good night. How are you doing?
Good, Jasmine. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for asking. So tell me, we talked in a pregame a little bit about the Oak Ridge against Folsom game.
Well, let me tell you, this game has been very tight. It's still going on. They're currently in the third quarter with 8 minutes to go. Folsom is up by 7 points. It's currently 4-7. It's been a tough game, very competitive. And it's actually this team has been one of the best opponents that Folsom has faced throughout the year.
What are you expecting to see in the fourth quarter from both teams to try and get this win?
I think it's important for both of these teams to be disciplined in the defensive end, because we know how an offensive powerhouse Folsom is. And I think that what will separate both of these teams is their defense. So their defense will mark who wins this game and who eventually wins the section championship.
Have you seen any key players and noticeable players that really stick up on this game and make like a very good appearance?
Well, let me tell you, somebody that has been pretty much all over this game has been Ryder Lyons, the quarterback, the 5-star quarterback, who has scored a touchdown today and has thrown for a touchdown today. So I think that is a guy who always been in the spotlight. It's going to be a headline throughout this game, and we'll see how this game ends.
Yeah, for sure. Are you daring to throw out any predictions for this game, for the end of this game?
Well, let me tell you from right now that we're going to see a 5th straight championship for Folsom. I already called it in the pregame. It's going to be a dynasty. It is official. So, but we'll see. No spoils yet, but we'll see how this game ends.
Yeah, definitely. Keep us updated, Rodolfo. Thank you so much for taking time and talking to us.
Thank you,
And
Jasmine.
Marla is going to take us away with Ethan.
So either we know that Gila Ridge Micah Mountain game was my game of the week, I would say. I mean, it was tough defense all night from Micah Mountain. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, boy. Well, it was your game of the week, but my goodness, it didn't feel like it. Gila Ridge, they scored the first 3 points of the game, and after that, their offense was non-existent. It was all Micah Mountain from there. They put up 31 unanswered points. They scored all the touchdowns on offense, and their defense, like you mentioned, oh, my gosh. 3 interceptions, putting that number to 15 on the season, 2 away from tying last season's interception count with 17. And they also had their first fumble recovery in a very long time, since I believe week 2 or 3. That's only their second of the season. By the way, it was a crucial one to help them secure a dominant win over somehow the unfavored Gila Ridge Hawks. And they came into this game with a 71% fan vote to win, and they showed it tonight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you were there. What was your favorite player of the game? Probably defensive player, we know, from that tough defense tonight.
There's no one really to point out, honestly, because it felt like everybody just did their job. There's no individual spotlight. There were 3 different players with interceptions. Going into this game, there was only 5 players on the team that had all the team's interceptions, and that spread out to now 7 different ones. So, I mean, you can't really point out anybody specific. Everybody did their jobs tonight.
That's great. And then would you say what was the best offensive play? Because, I mean, we can't ignore that offense from Micah Mountain tonight.
Micah Mountain, they scored two players scored all 4 touchdowns tonight. 2 of them went to Oxford, the running back, who scored 2 touchdowns in the second half to seal the game. The first 2 touchdowns on the first 2 drives, very first play for Micah Mountain, 90-plus yard touchdown bomb to Riley Carson on the outside one-on-one, and then he gets on the next drive a second receiving touchdown back-to-back, and he's not even just a receiver. He plays corner, safety, kicker, punter, returner, you name it. He's their main athlete. He's the Swiss Army knife. So the most explosive play that we saw was that very first play of the game, and you just knew from there Micah Mountain was going to roll away with this one.
Well, thank you, Ethan. Great recapping tonight.
Of course. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Now, Jasmine, take us away with JR from Texas.
Hey, JR, good evening. How are you doing?
Oh, fairly decent. It's kind of cold and windy over here, and that kind of had an effect on the game.
Tell me about it.
Eddie Jimenez is the main kicker for Kilgore. He's kicking an average of 20-yard punts. Now, that being said, he was 4 for 4 on the extra points and 2 for 2 on the field goals. They kind of Kilgore just basically like I was talking about it earlier. If Kilgore was able to control that clock, they would do it, and that's the way the game ended. Time running out with Kilgore in possession of the ball. They just shut down the Cardinals' completely. The whole aerial attack. Hudson Hoffman, the quarterback for Bridge City, he only had a completion rate of about 44%. And he only got, on that 44%, he only got about 44 yards. And he was intercepted 3 times. So that kind of put a damper on that situation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, the score was 34-0 for Kilgore, right?
34-0 is the correct number.
Yeah, that is a massive blowout.
Kason Brooks, the quarterback for Kilgore, threw 14 for 22 on completions for 184 yards. And Isaiah Waters, this is a little unusual. He had 9 carries for 56 yards, and he's usually more of a defensive player. You see him on the defense.
Yeah, that is definitely interesting. Something that maybe have impacted this game on a different level than the Cardinals would have expected, right?
Indeed. So the Cardinals go home. They start basketball season. And Kilgore moves on. They'll play Almeda Crawford Chargers. They're out of Rocheron, Texas, for the state quarterfinals next week.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, JR, for this recap and your insights. We are going to go to a quick break, but don't go anywhere because we have some more exciting news coming up with a very upset or a little bit of a different game that I didn't expect the outcome for. So stay tuned with us.
The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe, with an experience so good it remains indescribable, with something for every seafood lover. Try one of their amazing custom seafood boils, sandwiches, appetizers, and salads. Angry Crab Shack Tempe is located east of I-10 on Warner Road, 480-674-3847. The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe. Come ready to eat.
Hello, Varsity Sports Show family. I'm Tommaso Perez from ASU. Join me as I bring you inspiring sports stories and updates from our Catholic schools, where faith, tradition, and athletics come together. Catch me live on KDOS 1060 AM Saturdays from 9 to 11 and during Varsity Sports Show game broadcast.
APAC is your one-stop source for all your automotive and heavy-duty air conditioning parts, supplies, and equipment. They're family-owned and have been the Valley's go-to for all your auto AC needs since 1982. Whether it's for your everyday or vintage car, commercial, or off-road vehicle or equipment, APAC has you covered. Call APAC, AAPAK, the AC experts at 602-254-1116 and ask for the Varsity Special to get 10% off your purchase.
What's up, everybody? It's Rob Blackney, Medicine in Motion, out here in Paris. We're here at the Roland Garros.
Hey guys, Vince here to talk about Angel Dentistry. It's where my wife and I have gone for over 10 years, and we trust them with our routine and extensive dental care because they care. Dr. Amber Angel is an Arizona native, born in the town of Miami, and has been practicing in the Valley over 20 years. For general to comprehensive dental services, call 602-788-2008. Located off of Cave Creek Road just north of the 101 in North Phoenix. Angel Dentistry, proud supporters of our young people and proud partners of the Varsity Sports Show.
Hey, Manov, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Marla. How are you?
I'm doing good. I know earlier you had some Big 12 news, and you're our Big 12 person. Tell us a little bit more about some Big 12 recruiting news.
Yeah, it's always big here in Texas in terms of that recruiting news, and kind of interesting over this past week when you kind of look at the recruiting here in Texas. It's really 2 big programs that get a lot of the big names. Obviously, the Texas Longhorns and Texas A&M Aggies. Those 2 programs get really the bulk load of what do you look at the 5-star recruits and kind of the 4-star. Thought I'd talk about that considering both of them just wrapped up their big time game with UT winning again over A&M. But those two programs get a lot of the big names, so that kind of leaves teams like Houston or Baylor and TCU kind of figuring out what they can do once those two programs get who they want to get. And, teams like Texas Tech and Houston in the Big 12 have really stepped up their game when it comes to recruiting, especially this year for Texas Tech. And next year for Houston has been looking pretty good. But kind of one of the things here in Texas, you will always have to compete with the Aggies or Longhorns. And one of the longtime recruits for Houston, Jalen Warren, he's one of the best wide receivers in Texas. He has been committed to Houston for multiple months, ever since June. And right after Houston lost to TCU last week, he flipped his recruitment over to Texas A&M. So now he's with the Aggies, and that's just kind of how it goes sometimes here. When you have those big names, they just, switch over to the two big name schools here. But Houston has done a really good job next year for 2026, a top 5 in the Big 12 in terms of recruiting. They have another 4-star athlete, kind of like Travis Hunter, on their team next year in Paris Melvin Jr. So they still have some big names, but again, you always have to compete with the big ones here in Texas.
Yeah, last thing, real quick, Manav. Which team in Texas are you most excited about their recruiting class?
I would say I think Houston's is pretty exciting because they have, like I mentioned in the pregame show, the #1 overall recruit in the country in quarterback Keyshawn Henderson, kind of pairing him up with a couple of other big-time players like a running back and receiver have been really great for the Cougars.
Well, thank you, Manav. Hope you have a great rest of your night.
Yep, thank you, Marla.
And Jasmine, take us away with Matthew McCord.
Yes. Hey, Matthew. Good evening. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Please tell me about this 5A semifinal.
Yeah. Desert Mountain went up 10-0 early. Horizon stormed back, made it 10-10. At the end, it was 17-17, and Desert Mountain game-winning drive went down the field. Their kicker, Cohen Broadley, kicked the game-winning 23-yard field goal to send Desert Mountain to the 5A state title game. It was really fun, and it was kind of revenge because they lost to Horizon earlier in the season. So they kind of got revenge on them and ended their season at Horizon. And they'll be playing Canyon View in the 5A state title game.
Was this an outcome you expected, would you say, around the third quarter?
I thought Horizon was really gaining momentum. They tied the game up. They eventually made it 17-17 in the fourth. I expected them to come through, but it's just the issue with Horizon was they could not run the ball. And they have such good running backs in Bodie Zamorano and Dylan Brush, but they just could not run the ball tonight. And with Desert Mountain, their running back, Easton Connor, who plays both ways, he was incredible. He was around 100 yards rushing. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. Every time they gave him the ball, it was electric. And the real reason Desert Mountain won is because they could run the ball and Horizon couldn't.
Tell me, what was the energy like over there?
Oh my gosh, it was practically sold out. It was completely packed out all the way to the brim. There was this Horizon fan who kept banging his water bottle on the metal seats, and he kept getting yelled at by parents. I mean, it was all over the place. But I mean, the crowds, even the away crowd, the Desert Mountain crowd was terrific as well. So it was good all around, and it was just one of the best high school atmospheres for a game I've ever been around.
Well, thank you so much, Matt, for this recap. Have a good night. And guys, we're going to go to a quick break again, but don't go anywhere. We're going to wrap it up after this, so stay tuned with us.
All right, guys, welcome back to Friday Night Live postgame show. Wow, what a night! Congratulations to all of the teams in 4A, 5A, 6A playing in the state championship next week, and tomorrow night will be the Open. So some good stuff coming up. So like we said, some surprises pleasantly surprised. I got to say, congratulations to Coach Conrad Hamilton, Desert Mountain Wolves. That must have been a heck of a game, according to Matt McCord. I mean, Jasmine, what you saw Desert Mountain play a little bit this year?
Yeah, no, I was definitely surprised by the outcome of this game, knowing like I've seen Desert Mountain, but I've also seen Horizon Huskies, and like on paper, I think Horizon was the one who would come up on better on top. But yeah, a very good job of Desert Mountain, and as Matt said, like it was the running game that won it from them. So
Yeah, and I know, Marla, in all fairness to you being in Las Vegas, you didn't get a chance to see these teams firsthand. But what I will tell you is, even in conversing with Ethan Troll regarding Gila Ridge down in Yuma and the expectation there that they were going to come out and really do something against Micah Mountain. Micah Mountain was a very good team out of Tucson, and we had a chance to see them first game of the year when we did a game out there. The season kickoff, it was the Thursday night game of the week to start the season, and Coach Jay Campos had those guys going even then. So yeah, but I mean, you and Marley, you had a chance to really see Bishop Gorman week in and week out in Las Vegas. What would you compare the level of football with what you saw out there, maybe with what you've heard about some of the teams here?
Well, I always say this: Gorman's like Ohio State, and every other high school team is like East Texas. Gorman's just they've got like an amazing field. It's this huge stadium, and they've got really good players. All of them are going D1, like even the bench players. So they just play at a really high level, and they hit super hard, and that really upsets fans if you go somewhere else. Like we went to Shadow Ridge, and they weren't exactly agreeing with the calls because Gorman's just really aggressive.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, with that being said, one more week of the high school football season next week. Guys, no show tomorrow morning. The Varsity Sports Show, we took off for the Thanksgiving holiday, but we will be back next Saturday morning. Thanks again for tuning in to Friday Night Live post-game show on behalf of our amazing team, as well as our co-host, Jasmine Dickmans and Marla Mundo. Sorry, Jasmine.
okay.
It's late. I'm tired. Guys, have a great night, everyone.
It's Friday Night Live with Vince pregame, postgame show. Your destination for top high school football previews and wrap-ups with Vince and his team. Buckle up and hang on for Friday Night Live.